I don't know if we're even gonna be able to do this live, but we will see what YouTube decides to do on this one. I've tried it in a different way. It's about the last alternative I have to see if this will actually work. Um, I think I don't know. I think this is the way to probably get it to work if it's going to work. So can anybody tell me if this went in horizontal? If it's in horizontal, because I think it'll work like this, but it took me like a couple of hours of trying not to get upset and trying to figure out a different way to circumvent this. Um, and I think this will work like this. So, well, XCN, as I've said, we went over a few charts on it, and I can't buy it. But when we looked at the chart a couple of times, it looked good. Somebody gave me the "I told you so" moment in comments apparently before I came on here. Um, but I don't understand the "I told you so" moment. I literally said I would buy it if I could, but I can't because it's not on any of my exchanges. And the only reason I don't cover it more is because one, I can't buy it. And two, I don't need to look at it every 2 seconds if it's not on my own list. I got so many to go over. This isn't an XCN station. Just like in the same way that I don't go over XRP healthcare, even though I bought it at 1.7 cents and it's all the way up to 24 cents. Same reason I don't give every one of you the "I told you so" moment all the time. Like I don't even understand why somebody would want to throw me that shade with all the stuff I do. But to each their own. Um, but anyhow, I'm just glad this is working. And I'm glad that I figured out a way to make this work. Oh no, it's not the haters that are upsetting me. Trust me, the reason I sound like this is because for the last 3 hours, I tried to go live at 6, but it wasn't working. It kept putting it to vertical. Um, so I literally, Julie was sitting here around me. I didn't talk for like 3 hours. Like I said very little for 3 hours, and I was trying to figure this out in my head, like what I could do. And the only thing I can think of to make this work, the live's now in horizontal, and I have to set it out in the future, and then it's not ready to load just yet. And I realized it clicked with me yesterday was the only day in the past week that I haven't had to struggle for 45 minutes to get it to work. And the only thing I did different was I waited for my son's feeding to start. So I put it out into the future, and then the live ended up working in horizontal, no problem. So like it was a moment I had at like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, and I'm like, wait a minute, I think I can do it like this. And it worked. So it's that's a good thing. Um Thank you, Jennifer. Oh, I know I have lots of love. It's just sometimes I see a comment and it's like, hey, I wasn't rooting against you on XCN. I was rooting for everybody. I said it in the comments. I thought the chart looked very strong. And people have brought it up many times in the live, but I can't look at it every single time. If I owned it, it would be different. If I could buy it, it would be different. And I understand Kraken and some of those. I just don't trust Kraken. So I'm not going to hold my stuff on there. And I've got my reasons. But anyhow, we've got to get into the chart because a lot. And yes, I understand Jasmine. Believe me. And when it made the big dump and was down 6% today, I finally bit the bullet and I actually put $1,500 into Jasmine because that looks like a massive setup. And I decided I was going to team up with the IOTX purchase that I've had since it is partnered with the DPIN protocol. So everybody with Jasmine who's been trying to beg me to buy it or buy it back, I should say, I did today when it had that 6. It was down 6% yesterday. And I seen the setup and I said, fine. So that's gonna end up being like the rest of mine that I end up holding. But outside of that, XRP, let's get into the real story. So before we get into this evening's live, I want to go over a few key things now that we've got that whole mess out of the way. And yeah, it's gonna be hard for people to find my live this evening because I went live, like tried to do it 7 different times. So I would appreciate if some of you share this so that some can see this. But we're going to get into this and we're going to go over a lot of different things. And I promise you, now that we got past this beginning, it's going to be a lot better. It's going to be a lot better. I just want to share this and just post that so that it pops up on my own thing. So anyhow, so with XRP, what happened here today that was more than significant is XRP bounced up to $3.40. So at $3.40, this technically reached our technical target of our first tier coming out of the pennant flag. It's very substantial what happened today. So our first target out of the pennant flag was $3.40. What you see in front of you, and I need to turn this one pink. I think it was this one I was using. Well, I guess we can use that one. I like that color better anyhow. I'll put these ones that color because I think it's a little bit easy. Oops. A little bit easier to see. So the significance of these are the fair value gaps. And we're going to hit our flow right now. These are the fair value gaps. We tapped 290. We went back to, we did not hit 260. That's the only one we didn't go back and test. But when we created this run up, we created a gap again at $3.19. So when we hit $3.40, we finished our fair value gap, or we finished our first target out of the pennant flag, which ends up being the flag consolidation. That was $3.40. That $3.74 above you, that is the cycle uptrend right now that is being a resistance. It hasn't technically knocked us down, but we've been below it since we fell below it. And that's where we'd have to get back on top of it. And that successfully would bring us into that target zone of the actual pennant flag, the actual breakout, which the true target's $5.39. So the question is, before inauguration, can XRP get hot enough to break out past $4 prior to the inauguration? Like, that's the question I ask myself. It has filled out this potential 100% on the short-term move, as you can see. I didn't just put these in. You guys have been watching this unfold with me for days and days. And now it's broken out. So now the question is do we hold up here? And that $3.19 is that first layer that's very critical. It looks like it's created some kind of flag here. It's easier to see in smaller time frames. It could be a shoulder or something that could end up forming later. But it's tough because we don't want to lose this formation we're in. And if we lose that $3.19, that's where it could start to get a little tricky. Then you could come back where you had this downtrending there was a pattern formed here. I just don't have the uptrend that was forming this little pennant. But it could technically back test here if it were to break through. But I think the more obvious would be if it's meant to break, this was a perfect back test. And now we should, if it's got momentum, come back up over $3.40 and continue on its move. Otherwise, it would have to have a little bit more of a sustainable downtrend. But it's a good sign that it had that big dump down, and now we're still seemingly having a little bit of momentum. It's good to see Ethereum's up 2.1% here on the evening. So that's good to see. The XRP market cap is technically teasing a move here to like 242 billion. We've talked about it a few times. I brought it up in my update earlier, but that's the technical target of this very, 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 very long cup and handle. And we drew this out a long time ago. I just didn't know it was going to react that quickly when it got up here, but it is. And it's pretty impressive, actually, how fast it's going. I thought it would kind of straggle out. I didn't think it was going to go for like years, but I thought it would straggle out just a little bit. But honestly, it's rallied and it's ripped out of here. It's a pretty remarkable thing to see, in my opinion. It's a pretty remarkable thing to see. And then another good thing that I've seen as well with XRP is the XRP Bitcoin pairing. It's every bit of doing what it should be doing here. Every bit. The only thing I could see with the XRP Bitcoin pairing, which might be why Bitcoin's getting a little hot, it looks like it needs to back test this gap that it filled, that it created over here at the 3057. It created a gap at 3057. So that's where it's probably going to come back down to. And that's a good sign because it looks like Bitcoin's getting hot and XRP's not slowing down much. It's just Bitcoin's getting hot right now. We know we've got the liquidation, and we'll look at the heat liquidation map. We've got Bitcoin. There's about 6.5 billion, right around, I believe it's 108,000. It's either 106 or 108. It's growing. It's growing and growing. But Bitcoin, remember, we talked about, and I've been saying symmetrical triangle. It was in the rising broadening wedge, but it formed what looked like a symmetrical triangle, and now we're right. It confirmed the symmetrical triangle with this third hit here. And that's what I've been calling it. And now it looks like it's going to break out. And that breakout target's 112,000. So I don't just think we nailed it. I think we've been so far out ahead of this that it actually saved us some heartache here of thinking the market was going to fall bearish, because we identified, even though it was in a rising broadening wedge and that's bearish, that hold on a minute, when it bounced up here before it came down, we said this could be a symmetrical triangle and it's trying to fool us. And then we drew the line and said as long as it stays and honors that area and doesn't get rejected there, we're okay. And then it pulled up so quickly, and it pulled like that Gartley out, and we were like, oh, this is a ball game. That's a ball game pattern right there. So in fact, it looks like, I think it, even in this rising broadening wedge, if it overall ends up being that pattern, I think the rising broadening wedge could still get a rejection at 122,000. That's the technical target out of the cup and handle for anybody who's new. This is how we had it charted out before the cup and handle broke out. And then it's trying to fill it out completely. And then we had the shorter targets as well that have already filled. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Today was a big moment for me, because normally I would have got really frustrated and started yelling and doing all this stuff and getting really aggravated. And instead I sat there and I thought, and then it came to me, like, I don't know if I would have come to the solution to make this work properly if I would have been my even 2024 self. So this was a big moment for me. So with that being said, good evening. 8:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, January 16th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. There is always a chance of the gap being filled at $2.60, my dear friend Andy. And the reason for that is they fill 97% of the time. So some say the higher the rise out of the gap, the bigger the fall in the end. But it doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen, and we don't know when it's going to happen, if and when. The good news is that $2.72, it filled above it. So technically, I mean, it should, but maybe it won't. Hypothetically, if you had 2,000 to throw in one coin right now, what would it be? Not Jasmine. It's funny that you said that. He said not Jasmine. Probably because I said I bought Jasmine when it was down 6%. So now, if you guys wonder if I think things are a good time to buy, well, when it took that dump, when I can see a very clear pattern that's forming, it intrigued me too much. I mean, it just looks like a big pattern setting up. And then it came down and almost validates that entire thing. Big inverse head and shoulders, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But if I had to suggest something, AMP had a really good day from yesterday, but now it's starting to move. It's tough, because I really think IOTX is going to shred here in a minute. It looks like it's at the bottom of its formation. It looks like it's got a big inverse head and shoulders pattern. It looks like it's just forming like this cup and hand. But I'm not a financial advisor, so what does it really matter what I say? But that's definitely one that I would keep my eye on, IOTX. But there's others on top of that even that I would say keep an eye on. I think ZIL is just getting ready to just have a massive moment. Wait a minute, is it up 2% already on this flip? Oh, well, that kind of sucks. It's already starting to reverse its track. But it's on it already broke out of the first layer. And I have this chart with ZIL so that I don't have to look too far into the future. Trust me, I know it went over 20 cents. I was a holder. And then I sold it in that bear market, before the bear market. But it literally held this back test at 2 cents. And that means that we've got big potential here to come up way higher than this. I don't even know what chart this is. I should have had the other one on here too. I must have deleted the other one. Jennifer, thank you for the $1.99. Thanks for coming on tonight. Oh, you're welcome. Trust me, I tried to come on hours and hours and hours ago. I tried. And it paid off, It paid off. Because we're here together. We are here together. By some miracle, we made it together. Where's my other chart? I want to say it was this one. Yeah. I was going to say, I had it all charted out. Because eventually this is going to start breaking levels. I have to keep this one. I think this is the one. Yeah, oh yeah. This is the one. This is how I think eventually we're going to find ourselves up at 30 cents. It's just going to take a long time to push through this. But I'm telling you, it's going to be well worth the wait. Joseph, thank you for the $2 donation. How beautiful is that? Yes, XCN, I swear I wish I could have bought it. I swear, and I've been saying it for days. Every time you guys ask me, I seen the chart. Believe me. Adam, thank you for the $9.99 donation. Got 30,000 IOTX. I know you don't have XCM, but is there any way you can take a look at the chart? Thank you for all you do. And the first YouTube super chat. Well, normally I would have said I got a lot to do and I want to keep the audience entertained with my XRP, but because you were so generous, I'll look at it real quick. And I had a chart on here, the Kraken chart. I've had a Bybit chart on here. Or not the Bybit. I had a Kraken one earlier. And this is how early I was covering this when I said it looks good and we're about to break. I mean, it could break out. Where the heck is this stupid chart? This one. This is how early we were covering it before this breakout. I trust me, I understand. And I wanted to buy it. And when I got into this rhythm right here, when it got into this, when it formed this little uptrend, even though it came back through, this was telling us that it was starting to come back. And once it finally got through this, look at that breakout too. I wanted to buy it, believe me. It just wasn't on an exchange that I use. So, it's not that I didn't want to buy it. Believe me. It looked like once it broke out, it was going to have a massive move. But remember, every single move that happens, it's going to have, you guys, I'm sure you guys already realized that by now, because it's had a massive retracement after the breakout, but this is good. Even if this is good. That's a good breakout. And this is why when I was looking, I wanted to get in because look at a lot of the charts look like that and they were getting ready to just bust out. And once they do, I think a lot of them are going to start racing back to the top sides. But if I'm being realistic, I got to go into a smaller time frame. That's a big level up there. But in the short term, I know we filled this pattern out already, though, because I know it was somewhere around here that it was closer to 1 cent was that first initial big hitter. And then it all depended on how it reacted, how much it would have to. But there's a very heavy gap here that's been left that I can see that could very well play out here now that this is filled. Yeah, see, it got every bit of that move and bounced on top of it. That's how you can get an extension out without having to do a further retrace. If you have that technical first move and then you bounce off of it as support after when you're coming back through, because sometimes it ends up being a layer of a pivot. But now it's created what looks like another cup real quick, possibly. But we'll see. This one's going to have ultra volatility until it settles here. Whether it breaks through to the next layer or if it has to settle down, it very well could just keep going here. Like I said, there's a top level up here in this. It could achieve very quickly. I mean, if you're going to open up a leverage position, that's on you. I'm not even going to sway your positioning. Because to do even a 4x leverage, what if it goes horribly wrong? I mean, you have to outweigh the benefits. But I can tell you right now in the 15, that looks like a possible inverse pattern, like a nice little V shape, little inverse left shoulder, little inverse right shoulder possibly formed here. If it bounces out of 340, it would be interesting, but I mean, that's a ballsy move. Anything's ballsy when you use leverage, especially after a move up, but it very well could pay off. It very well could. It very, very well could. Let's see. I do like the way it, even with the XRP market cap, it gives me so much hope that this can continue to go up until that move. Just because it finished off that cup so quickly and then it broke out of the handle. Like, I did not expect that. Unless that's just a fake out, I did not expect it to do that so quick. Even if I use 3x leverage, I don't see the price coming down to 215. it would be hard fetched at this point to come all the way down to 215, especially if we expect this to continue. That's an honest and fair assessment. Oh, I hope so. For that one fact, I hope that XCN, well, I mean, for more than one fact, I think XCN, I think that was a great snipe by the audience. There was a few of you that have been talking about it. I feel like for like 2 months, because we charted that quite a while ago. And it's just every time we take a look at the chart again, it just, you could see it's, there's others that are just like that are getting ready as well. Some have already done it, but the point is all of these are working their way back up to previous cycles. Now, it's pretty incredible when you look at it. And like XRP's market cap, not to cut off our own story, I mean, this thing is going to start. Now it's like the market cap did this. And the market cap, I mean, it's never been friggin' higher. The market cap has never been higher for XRP. And when you look at XRP, it almost is completed. And I think one of the charts I had a big W. Yeah. It's almost completed this prophecy that we had how long ago? I don't remember the last time I looked at this chart, but we created the big, and that's supposed to be a W here, by the way. Remember, then we said it could create a flag or it could just bounce out. We didn't know. We didn't know, but we've come up to this range that we're actually in this range. And it's funny that we put it at 360 and that's right where the uptrend actually is at this time. But we talked about the big W. Now, what if it just comes out? You know, what if it does come out like that and just bounce out? That's where that 669 target comes from this analogy that we drew, that cup and this chart, or that price target is on the first chart. I just don't go up that high yet. But let me justify this for everybody. Because this chart we used for a while. We really did. We used it for a while. That was our cup and handle rising channel. Does everybody remember this? This was our cup and handle that literally started it all. That distinguished it all. Literally, I remember using this chart for months and months and months until we broke out of the only reason we stopped using this one is because we broke out of this almost 7-year descending wedge. So we had to go from this chart to the one that took precedent. I have 4 charts. It's just we've worked in the most bullish of scenarios now. So fortunately, you want to be on the first chart. But anyhow, we've had this W, and we said if it comes up and creates this all-time W. Remember how crazy it sounded when I was saying it at 50 cents and 60 cents and 40 cents? And now it's actually done this. This is the crazy part. Like, we were just sitting here 3 months ago talking about this. Oh, yeah, the dragon played out. It just took some time. But yeah, it absolutely played out. But this is like the all-time pattern. This is the all-time pattern. And now that if it breaks over the top, and then if it does like the market cap, this is just screaming for a big breakout. And then I measured the depth of the cup, hypothetically, like 6 months ago. We measured the depth of it hypothetically, and it gave us a hypothetical target at 669. I remember sitting here saying, I'm not going to show it all the time until it's relevant because I don't want to look crazy. Some of you remember this. But 669 seemed crazy. It don't seem crazy now. It doesn't seem crazy now to me. And we're ripping. Oh my God, this is insane. Oh boy. And look, V chain's up 5.3%. Look at fucking H bar, guys. Oh my God. We just 10x'd H bar. You guys realize we've essentially 10x'd XRP. We've 10x'd H bar. Like, no joke. We've 14x'd XRP healthcare. It's unbelievable when I watch some of this. What is this? 5 or 6x XLM. Algo, I don't even know. It's up another 8%. Unbelievable. Or no, 6.7%. VELO, we bought at 009. Just watching some of these. And AMP yesterday, I brought it up so many times yesterday just because it's getting ready for a massive, massive move, it seems like. And I seen this inverse head and shoulders. And not just that, I've been charting this thing in and out of it forever. And finally, I'm like, I'm in it to stay now because it finally is breaking out of this descending formation. It's going to be a massive reversal. Massive. Just from yesterday, it's already had tremendous gains. And it's just starting. This is one that's going to have some kind of move here probably. But there's so many of them. XDC $2 donation. I love XDC. XDC is going to work in. I think XDC is going to. It's got high ambitions. Let's just put it that way. It's so awesome to see it at 14 cents. Now, we were dealing with it for how long? I mean, it's awesome watching the charts that we were in the past and seeing how perfectly they played out and how perfectly they played to our targets. If you ever want to know what we do here, look at the targets and where they ended up. You know, I don't cover XDC every day, but the targets did go where the targets were meant to go. And then it's even going into our layers. We're almost to the 19 cents now. We've come through the second tier now. We just got rejected at first, which is good because you don't want to go through so quickly. Well, I don't think it's going to have a 50% drop from here. But I mean, this kid is just going to keep going. I just think the utility tokens, if this is the way, and it's so hard to say because January 20th, if it's not a pump and dump, buy the rumor, sell the news, which if it's a sell the news event, that's why I say, no, depending on how high up all this gets, you know, you gotta make your own educated and informed decision. But like, I can believe it because this is what I planned on so long ago, but I can't believe it when I'm watching it unfold. I just want to know if you can help me out and give me a tip on what I can leverage on tonight. Leverage is so dangerous in this kind of a market, only because what happens if we get some kind of rug pull in the middle of the night or something? But with that being said, we do have gamblers in the house. I'm not one of them. I'm too faint of heart. But ZIL, man, ZIL. The only problem is ZIL, because of how it moves, it could keep you liquidated in 2.3 seconds. Because that was a 15% move up right there. All right, my friend, what did you drop 4x leverage on? Was that the XRP? My God, the market is starting to... I'm not going to pat myself on the back for my Jasmine vibe, but I'm going to pat myself on the back. When I told Julie earlier, I'm like, Julie, it's down 6%. Look at this formation. She's like, it looks... And I always show Julie my phone now. And when because sometimes she'll be like, oh, it looks like an M. I'm like, what? I don't see it. Oh, yeah, that's my unbiased opinion. When I look at it... that's my biased opinion because I was looking for something else, but then I'm looking at it for like what she said. I'm like, oh shit, I can see it. So when she's seen it and she goes, oh, that looks like a massive inverse head and shoulders or a W. And I'm like, hey, that's just good validation there. So it was like, whatever it cost me to buy 40,222 tokens when it was down 6% yesterday before the flip at 8 o'clock, it just was doing the opposite of the market. And then it had a bull flag and it came down to retest the old gap. And I'm like, oh, well, it's either now or never. It's either going to fall straight through or I'm going to be very happy in a couple days. 10x on XRP last night. Nice. I know there was a wild pullback and then an even wilder ride back up. But while I'm on here before I forget, the XRP or the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. The Bitcoin heat liquidation map. This is where all of the keys are held. The keys to every car are held in this. I'm telling you. But I'm gonna do this one time. Me, you, and everybody else who is on BITUNIX, because I don't have the leverage trading account open at all, because I didn't want people swayed. One day I'm gonna open that, and we're specifically gonna trade off the heat liquidation map and see if it can be trusted. And we're going to just make trades, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 50x. I don't know yet, but we're going to base it on the heat liquidation map. And there's been so many opportunities when I've watched and I'm like, this has to happen like this. Like, now, look how weak the volume is below. But look at all of the guys. This is what I was trying to get at before. Look at up here how much freaking liquidation there is. There's no way they're going to let it sit. Look at this. There's no freaking way. 600 million at 103,000. Look at this. Billions and billions and It's almost begging. Somebody asks, oh my God, there's so much money. But then you come down here, oh, but not even worth their time. Not even worth their time. You know why? Because they already ate it. When we were up here, we said, well, they got to come down here to get it to 89. It came from here to 89. Then we said, well, they got to come back up to like 108. 106. Actually, it's like 106. That's what it is, 106. And then boom, boom, boom. Now, where's the next layer going to be had? Where's the next layer going to be had? This is the coolest freaking chart ever, I swear. It's the coolest chart ever. It really is. It really is, because when you get on top of these ones, it's like they can try to trick you. They can try to tell you whatever the hell they want. It's not going to work because you have all the facts. Bitcoin dominance chart. Forget all the other crap charts. Just go here. Bitcoin dominance is at 56.4%. Ethereum dominance has 11.4%. Down 1.25%. And the others are up 1.55% to a 32.2% market share. We'll get in. Yeah, we'll look at the fear and greed index. 57, still neutral. Isn't that neutral? It's kind of pushing back up, but 57 is great right now. Are you kidding? I can't believe it's only 57. Wow. That seems so low. Oh, and I love these. If you're looking for these particular ones, go to coinmarketcap.com. And then just go through some of these indicators and get familiar with it. Just watch me do this every day. And then we got the altcoin season index. It's only at 50, so it's like in the middle. We got up to about 62 last month. And we got to have 87 for alt season. Altcoin season would be 87. We bounced in there briefly, but it just, you know. Keith Morgan, thank you so much for joining Tom's Armor. Are you kidding me? Wow, if this isn't just a all-inspiring moment just because of the way it's been going. And thank you so much. You just made me the happiest person today. And you know what else? George, happy birthday to you, my friend. Thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months or over 3 with the XRP Media or more than that. But happy, I think that's a 61st birthday. How cool is that? How cool is that? Tanya, welcome in, love, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. How beautiful is that? That's beautiful. So altcoin season, see, we're not anywhere near alt season, but look, we're having a little bit of a burst here, maybe. Just maybe. Just maybe. And it's like my head, sometimes I don't even know what to think anymore, because if I only owned XRP and our, on 10,000 tokens, we had a $3,500 to $35,000 challenge. Most thought we were nuts. And we bought it 34.5 cents. And based on 10,000 tokens was the challenge. You can have more. I have a little bit more, but you can have more, you can have less. But that was the challenge. And that was in early 2023. And once it got to that price, we never let go. And here we are. And if it was just XRP, I wouldn't really know what to do. But it's like, there's XRP, there's Algo, there's XLM, there's IOTX, there's XDC, there's VELO, there's ZIL, VChain, HBAR. Hell, IOTA. I just don't have IOTA. I have IOTX for obvious reasons, as you guys know. But there's so many more. Like Julie holds the Dogecoin. And there's AMP. And now there's Jasmine. And there's just, well, there was Jasmine before on a big run too. That was nice. But there's just so many. Just had a 10 milligram gummy. Could be night soon. Ooh. Right on, dog bite. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you. Oh yeah, XRP Healthcare. That's the other one. That's the one that's the best crypto trade I think I've ever made. I think it's the best trade. I always say I have a 2.1 cent average. So even if you base it on 2.1 cents, what is it? 12x right now. I've had, I don't know if I've had any better than that. Honestly, trying to think. I just think there's some that are, man, it's just crazy. But anyhow, this is a great one to get familiar with. Great one to get familiar with. Just so you can, man, the crypto market cap looks great. Volume 154.79 billion, 3.57 trillion. Crypto ETFs net flow was on January 15th, we were negative 81,900,000. I mean, I don't really see anything that stands out that seems bearish at all. We already talked about that. Wow. So anyhow, the only thing that could be bearish is the inauguration if it's a buy the rumor, sell the news. But guess what? It won't be forever. It won't be forever. Hey, Tom, I heard other YouTubers talking about your explanation on why you thought that dinner was why it was a deal maker. I'm glad. I know I'm not the only person who sees it. Like, I wasn't coming on here, being like, hey, I'm the only one who's ever seen this and this is my work. Nope. If I seen it, everybody else had to have seen it too. Well, some people had to have. But yeah, I think that. I think that's true. Because you had Brad Garlinghouse, you had Stuart Alderodi, and you had President Trump sitting there. And then when he talked about the Beat Boignon, and then you go back to France back in the 1900s, and that was a sign of a closed deal, and it was basically, and the green candles, and there was a bull on the clock, and then you got the ghost ship and renewing, and then you got the wavy and the chopping, and then you got it's everything. It's awesome. Yes, I know. That's what's going to be good about this. All I was being was the contrarian, Joseph, saying the only way that I could see this going bad is if it was a buy the rumor, sell the news, but it doesn't feel like that. We've been talking about how it feels like a super cycle here, and we were basing it on XRP, but what if XRP is the one bringing in alt season for the first time and not Ethereum? That's my contrarian look at it. We're waiting for Ethereum to bring in the alt season. What if it's XRP bringing it in right before our very eyes? Joseph, thank you so much for that $2 donation as well. I really appreciate that. Jennifer, have a good night, love. I really appreciate you being in here and your positivity that you've shown me. Really, really appreciate that. So, a super cycle, it doesn't act in the same way as a normal bull cycle. So, where you would generally get like XRP, like for instance, back in 21, it went from about 11 cents. And then it had a nice little rally too. It went up to it settled in at about 40 something cents before the breakout. And it was settled in there for a little bit. Between 30 and 50 cents we sat for months. And then all of a sudden, in a 7-day period, it broke out. We got up to the cycle high. But sometimes in bull markets, you get these, a month or two, and then all of a sudden it just breaks down and it's over back to a bear market. This would mean that you could have a bull market, and without any bear market in between, it just goes into another bull market. So right when you think it would settle down, like for XRP, a perfect example. When we got to $1.98, most of us would have expected it to hit $1.98 and then just come right back down to $1.50, $1.40, just come down and break the cycles. Then it just went right up to $3 or $2.90. And then we expected to pull back, and it did do $1.98, $1.89. But now it's come right back through $3, and now we hit that $3.40, and it's like these are just compounding now. And because XRP was in such a big consolidation, instead of it just being a move from 50 cents to $2 or $3, this has the potential to go to 6, 7, 8, and then if it breaks out of that, that's where it could be interesting. If it gets past that $5.39, that for one would be insanity for one cycle. For XRP at least, except the one in 2018. But it's just, the super cycle would it's not going to end. It would just literally start, and for Trump being in, instead of it being like a 2-month cycle, maybe it's a 4-year cycle. Maybe it's a year cycle. Maybe it's going insane. And that's the thing. We still haven't had a couple of things. The real world assets haven't even found the way to the ledger yet for tokenized gold and silver. That's going to be a big draw. And if you don't think the RLUSD being released on my birthday had any effect on this, on December 17th when I turned 41, you are mistaken. You don't think any of this pressure was because of the increase in gas fees and the usage of XRP in transaction purposes via RLUSD. Isn't it any great coincidence that we've had this run right after RLUSD? I mean, think about it. Has anybody done the math? We had the initial boost, but this continuation, we've got so much capital. Listen, guys, if you want to be the conspiracy folks, I want to be too. Ready? We said this from the beginning. What if they just created RLUSD? One, because we know that USDT, they had about 20, I think it was 20% or 30% of all USDT was because of Ripple from their transactions. Well, now, you know how USDT, or you have like the BNB token. Remember Luna? They had Luna Classic to pump up their own price. What if Ripple's doing it now with RLUSD? What if they can just print out as much fucking money as they want? They can just pump up their own token now and put it into the stablecoin and wash, repeat, kind of like the Fed prints money and then they prop up the bonds. So they print money, then stock up the bond market. I mean, any of these things would make us filthy rich. I think XRP's market cap in time is going to pass Bitcoin's. Now, everybody thinks that means that XRP is going to be priced ahead of Bitcoin. That's the only difference I have with everybody. I have zero doubt that XRP is going to pass Bitcoin's market cap. It's not going to pass it in price, though. Like, that's where we differ, because Bitcoin only has 25 million tokens. XRP will have a max of 99.9 billion. It's a big difference. Don't care what anybody says. But I do believe it's going to be much more valuable than Bitcoin. And I also think Bitcoin's let's say the rose, right? Or the beauty before the beholder. That's what they're selling everybody. But really, it's just a pump and dump scheme of all pump and dump schemes. They need enough capital in Bitcoin for when the U.S. government eventually does sell out all of their stuff, because they will eventually. And I think XRP is being positioned more as a unilateral reserve for the USA. I don't care what anybody says. I think the ruse of Bitcoin being a U.S. reserve is all nonsense. I've said it from the beginning. I think the actual reserve is going to be built with XRP. So I've not changed that. You know, that's just my own conspiracy that I kind of keep to myself unless moments like this when it comes out, when I'm asked the right question. See, there is no bad question, but there's also the right question. So if you ask me the right question in the right way, you're going to get the right answer. Soul of Jeffy, thank you so much for the $7 donation. You guys are too super generous. Sometimes it makes me want to cry. Seriously, because when I started this 4 years ago in March, and I'm proud to say I've never missed a day of doing this. Not one single day. And I wouldn't want to miss a day. But like when I started this, I could have only imagined. And I did pray for this years and years ago when I lived in my dad's house. I was condo. And I was like 21. And I used to sit there and I was playing. I'll never forget, I was playing Halo online. It was the first Halo on my laptop because I never had an Xbox, never have, never did, never will. And I wanted to play the Halo, and I could play by some miracle on my laptop. That's when they first got the Intel chip, and it had like the graphics good enough. And I remember sitting there, and I'm like, man, I really wish that I would just sit there sometimes and just look and be like, I wish I could figure something out to do to teach people, but enough for me to live that I could do it for free, but something that mattered. I used to say, I swear to God, and I used to pray, I'd be like, if I can figure this out, I will never charge anybody for what I'm teaching them. And I didn't know what it was going to be. Hey, Marco, thank you for the $13.99 donation. I greatly appreciate that. And also being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. That is hella cool. Dog, but if Trump makes America crypto tax free, XRP, oh my God. If he makes crypto tax free, like, I personally think everybody should file an extension on this year's taxes if you trade crypto, and don't do it until August. If you live in the USA, I'm just saying, that's what I'm doing. I'm putting all my stuff in when it comes for like my YouTube money and anything else that I have to claim. But I'm putting an extension on my actual return. And I usually do it, but this year is very priority filled because I don't want to send it in before, they make any. I'm going to give them as much time as possible to do that. So, this is going to be an interesting year by far. Man, XRP's over 190 billion. Oh my God. We're almost 20% within a $1 trillion market cap. Let that sink in. Saint Street said, Tom, I think the way you said it is perfect. XRP is going to lead the bull run alts. I hope. I think it is. I think it might already be. Is it fair to say XRP is leading the altcoins into the alt season? Unless we're going to say XRP Healthcare is leading the tokens in the alt season. But this one has dramatic drops. And you see how it's dropping right now? This is actually so super bullish, I can't even describe it. There's a massive inverted hammer candle in the all-time chart before the current candle that's on. I know it dropped 15% today, but I'm telling you, that is so super bullish. My head wants to pop off the screen. Can anybody else see that? Massive inverted hammer candle. The red one just before the green one we're on. Oh my God. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. There's another one where I could say Lord have mercy just looking at that screen. It's XLM. It's XLM. Look at XLM in the all-time chart. Assuming it'll bring it up. I'm so excited it doesn't want to bring it up. Oh, it's locked up. See? I got too excited. Whoops. But look at XLM. Is that not a massive bull flag in the all-time chart? Like, come on now. You guys don't even understand it if you don't understand technicals. Yeah, I have 20,000 XLM. I'm so excited. I bought in that XLM a very long time ago. 8.5 cents roughly. But that bull flag, oh my Lord. Guys, that bull flag started at 7.8 cents to 43 cents. That's going to get us up to the dollar mark probably. At least pretty damn close if it plays out. I mean, look at that. It's going to go absolutely bonkers. DGB, not as big as XDC, but look at that bull flag. This thing is just yelling that I need to be at 4 cents plus here in the very short term. Oh, baby. Look at XDC. Woo-hoo. See that inverted hammer? That played out before it? Oh, my. Another one. Just getting ready. It's getting ready for Zill. V-Chain's getting... They're all getting ready. Look at this one played out just like XDC now. XRP. And it's not even close to being done. Look at that. Look how big that flag fucking pole is. It's not even close. It's screaming that it's coming towards... Oh, my God. Just the way it all looks. Unless it all comes apart. But just on the onset, when you just look at this in the all-time charts, can really make somebody happy. Massive inverted hammer on AMP looks very similar. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look, even Jasmine, massive inverted hammer, and put the reversal candle back up. If it plays out. If it plays out. IOTX has been in the same consolidation for so long that you're not getting some mess. It hasn't done anything yet. You have to spread it out. But I love IOTX. I'm just waiting patiently. That looks like a huge inverse head and shoulders to me. And eventually I know where it's going. Even where it's at right now, how far is it to the all-time highs? There's so many reasons to be thankful. Fuck, that's a 544%. Oh my God. If this all actually falls out like this. Good to see gold over 2,700. Let's see. We've been on 50 minutes. Wow. Trump only ISO coins, no tax. Mm-hmm. And what are the tokens that I refuse? What is my plan? What tokens do I hold? I believe if we said ISO tokens would be tax-free, you'd also say IoT because they're both part of the same framework for utility. Because they're both hand in hand. Don't ask me that question. Don't ask me that question. AMP, if you would have asked me that yesterday, you would have had a better shot, but it already went up like 20% from yesterday. Um, I'm biased. I'm very biased. I am a very biased person. But I can't help but look at that DGB chart and get very excited in a good way. Not in a sexual way, obviously. Since some of you guys, your brain immediately went there. And gals, which I don't blame you. After all, I'm tall, dark, and handsome, and I bet some of you wish I had an OnlyFans, but not today, not this century. But maybe one day, if this all goes sideways, you can catch me on OnlyFans or down at about 8 Mile. I'm not that far out of Detroit. So, preferably OnlyFans. Preferably OnlyFans. Now that my hair is so long, if you look at me from the back, you know, you might get the wrong impression. So, you know. But yeah, fortunately, like the Cannabis Podcast said, only bags. And by the way, Cannabis Podcast, I don't know. I watched the couple videos you have, and literally, you need to do more. Your delivery is awesome. I'm glad you're on here, actually. I like to promote some people from within our community. I'm just being honest. I watched his stuff yesterday, and I just remember going to his, wait a minute. Where's my previous videos? What the hell is all this crap? Got stuck with my son stuff. Son of a bitch. But here, I can circumvent. I'm going to go right to your channel because I know how. Without typing it in. Since you're in the chat. Go to channel. But yeah, he's in here. I watched. He's got a lot of videos, but I noticed the last one was like, what? It was a while ago. Yeah, this one I was really fat. Whoops. I stopped it here too because you went through every single one of these states. I would give him a shot. If you guys like cannabis, I would give this guy a shot. His delivery is fantastic. He's very passionate about what he does too. I can obviously tell you that much. So I got a lot to go through here. I was blown away. But I'm like, he hasn't made a video in a while. You do a good job. I must say, you do a good job. And I've watched a lot of people try to talk about cannabis, and they don't really. They just sound like a stoner. No offense to me or you or anybody else who smokes cannabis, but that's the truth. You were actually given the hardcore facts, but I thought it was fascinating how you were breaking down like the revenue, and then like I don't remember what state it was. Which one was it? They had a neighboring state, and like 97% of their pot revenue was from the state that was illegal, like on the border. And they still haven't made, like, when you look at stuff like that, it's like, that's pretty insane. It's pretty insane. Yeah, the Cannabis Podcast, oh, you betcha, my friend. But it was like seeing how much, I'm a connoisseur, and I like growing, and I like that, making stuff out of THC, and it's like, to see somebody who's, oh, no, the person who said you don't have Jasmine, no, you don't have to worry. As I said in the beginning, when it had the 6% drop, I took the plunge back into Jasmine. 40,222 tokens because when I showed Julie my phone, I'm not kidding, this was the final say. When I showed her my phone, she's like, oh, that looks like a W or an inverse head. And when she said it, I was like, whoa, that's exactly what. So, you don't have to worry. I have Jasmine. It's back on the list. I decided to buy it when it had that drop because it's partnered with IOTX with the DPIN protocol, as you know. So now, I don't have to worry about saying, oh, I'm not buying it because it's Chinese. So many people told me to follow it that I've been watching it for so long. Why is this Jasmine chart up, though? This isn't even the right one. Yeah, no wonder it's Coinbase. Never use Coinbase. Wouldn't even use the chart. I wouldn't use Binance, but at least I like the charts. But yeah, you don't have to convince me. It was never that you guys had to convince me. It was just, I was waiting and waiting and waiting. I had bought it, and when it made that big run up, you guys all know the story. And then I decided, you know what? It made a big, to me, it looks like it's starting to reverse course. And it's getting ready for something big. So the fact that it held here, it had the deep dive down, And then today was just too much. I just watched it and I said, I'm going to put 14, I think it was 1,400 it ended up being to buy 40,222. I said, the hell with it. I'm just going to let it ride. Just going to let it ride. But now I know I had this other chart because I made it simple. It was a simple chart. I mean, that's a massive cup and handle that formed. So there's nothing, I'm not mad about it. I'm actually pretty happy. Hey, you guys are welcome. Man, I'm so glad so many of you are following this podcast. See, that's the power of community right there. He didn't have to pay me. I didn't have to pay him. I didn't have to pay none of you. We have the power of the people. I always said that. We have power of the people right now. It's pretty cool what you can achieve if you're in the right circumstance. Man, I'm just glad I watched it yesterday. Because he started talking about his stuff, and when I seen his name, I'm like, I need to check out that channel. And then I started watching, I'm like, man, he's got a lot of facts. He put a lot of time into this. And obviously the kids, you know, they want your attention, and then you can't watch what you want about cannabis. But it doesn't mean I can't go back to it. But it was enough of an impression for me to be like, I want to talk about that if he's in here tomorrow. That kind of looks like it's getting ready. I'll keep an eye on there. In the future, we'll keep an eye on Jasmine, obviously, but I think it's gonna go somewhere. But the kids have school in the morning and stuff, so I got stuff I need to do. So I need to wind this down. Not that I want to leave. I'm just so blessed that I was able to do this evening after all the crap earlier with YouTube, and now I think I figured it out. But just remember this: before I leave, with XRP, we have the biggest thing that we have to remember with XRP right now: $3.40 is the resistance. That was the first target out of the pennant flag. I'm going to delete some of these, like 260 at FVG, but we know. I'll put that back if it becomes relevant. Because I'm trying not to keep so many lines on here. Just to make it easier. We know the 78%, and it broke out, so at least that's held up. Statistically, analytically, it was correct. We don't need this anymore, at least for now. I'm going to take that out of there for the ease of visibility. So, and I can remember this. I have a photographic memory, so if I need to put it back, I will. So right now, out of the pennant flag, we had the flag target of just the flag consolidation of $3.40, which it's actually hit. On the way up, we created three FVGs, $2.60, $2.72, and $3. Well, we created another one in between, and $3.19 were the most substantial. We filled the $3.19. We filled 272. The only one we failed to fill was 260. So, and I think there's one at like $3.12 maybe. I'm not sure, but I think there could be one there. But anyhow, as long as we hold $3.19, then we can start to try to focus on getting over 340. And then the next step is going to be to try to get up to that all-time high area of $3.74. And then it's going to do one of two things. It could power through, or you could have a swift drop from 374 area back down to 340. And then it holds, and then you start pushing up. But we have a technical target of the pennant itself is all the way up at $5.39. So we're not anywhere near the target yet. Not anywhere near the target. So with that being said, thank you all so much for giving me the time of day. I do have to go. Got to make sure everything's ready. Like I said, kids have school. Got to make sure the, what the hell is she now? Everybody's so old now. The 11-year-old is getting some sleep. I know my son's already sleeping, but he doesn't have school tomorrow. He's off tomorrow. He actually has a 4-day weekend because they have Martin Luther King Day on Monday. God bless all of you as well. Don't forget to give thanks to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I always say, try to remain humble and show humility in all ways. If you're looking to trade, and if you're just looking, listen. Somebody asked me, if you're watching, somebody asked me in a comment about the easiest way to send money to BITUNIX. And they said, would it be easier to put it on with a credit card if they're on crypto.com and then just send it with USDT so that they don't have to pay the fees? And if you can find a good way to put it on by a credit card, if that's where you get it, that's how I used to do it, so I get the points. But yeah, send it USDT. Via USDT to BITUNIX is the best way. Use Arbitron. Anybody who's using USDT, use Arbitron to send it. It'll take like 2 to 3 minutes. It's only a $1 fee no matter how much money you send. just my tip to you, if you're sending Tether, use Arbitron. Thank me later. And it goes super quick. You don't have to wait 45 minutes anymore, but it's super quick. Almost to the point where I wanted to, for USDT purposes, it's quick. To the point where I almost invested in Arbitron. Yes, I've mentioned XCN. We talked about we've talked about it before. I just can't buy it. I don't have an exchange to buy it on. But yeah, it was super bullish and it broke out. And now it's got some layers. It's got some layers that it's gonna have to deal with here. But anyhow, BITUNIX, lowest spot and leverage trading fees. They have the lowest maker taker fees and things like that. They have XRP and many others. I use it as a place to trade in privacy because it's a no KYC exchange. So you're trading in secret. A lot of people, big fish, they have one of their accounts for tax purposes, but then they'll send stuff over to a no KYC exchange. They'll trade off the books, and then when they're ready to buy or sell, they'll simply send it back. You know, or they'll send it in Tether or something else so that it looks like they're just sending money over. And then you can blah, 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 say it was just a stable coin. I'm just sending my paychecks there and yada, yada, yada. You guys get the picture. HOTCOIN, similar. They have XDC, IOTA, VELO, and many others. Crypto.com, I love it for the Visa debit card. 25,000 bucks you can put on it. I put my profits there. And then if you have it in their USD account, it's 250,000 USDC backed, or it's FDIC insured. And then they also have the stock market now on there. Tons and tons of stocks. Just like JP Morgan. It's crazy. But anyhow, have a blessed evening, everybody. I do have to go.